know he's a young too. I didn't know he was that young.
Yeah. You know, we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. You just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the grass shake. Cujo L. Iron shake. Yeah. Yeah.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flags, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and move these for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Racial West at that, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my G? Got a problem with me? I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheep. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and move these for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be gay taught the world don't respect you. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Rumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mark D. Condolences, QB, RIP Prodigy, who study history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you said right. Trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabay, Bey knows Moorish master MC. Fuquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Sprague and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the good planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, can still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch drink champ steady. Cause Norby said you are on a track, so call me petty. Also more exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown, video feathers like a sailor do. Initiate invasions, activate at doors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flags, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and move these for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? We are Moors. We are Moors.
You sat down and you attacked the master teacher because you thought you heard something that you didn't hear. That's the first violation. You don't come in. First of all, you come in and you act like you come in peace, but you don't. You got an agenda.
Moors are men upright, independent and fierce, dogmatized. Dirty Moors, tongues cut out, left earless, cause they never listen. Dirty Moors, keep up your slander. Wu-Tang torture in your ass, hot hangers. Kidnap a dirty Moor, torture him like Saw. 3D, 0.5 or 1 through 4. Or get it like 5 or 6 with the fez on jigsaw. Leather face in a turban, rip dirty Moors lips off. Disrespecting the mother Raz Mariah Bay. Wrap him up like double crochet, the barbed wire way. Throw him off a bridge or feed him to the piranhas. Yellow journalists all spread nothing but propaganda. Idi Amin Bay, treat the temple like Uganda. Dirty Moors like foreigners, crush the dust like ganja. Not worthy of being Moors, we call them dirty Nehesus. Solomon Seal spell command 72 demons to get you.
You sat down and you attacked the master teacher because you thought you heard something that you didn't hear. That's the first violation. You don't come in. First of all, you come in and you act like you come in peace, but you don't. You got an agenda.
Moors are men upright, independent and fearless. Dogmatized, dirty Moors, tongues cut out, left earless, cause they never listen. Dirty Moors, keep up your slander. Wu-Tang torture in your ass, hot hangers. Kidnap a dirty Moor, torture him like Saw. 3D, 0.5 or 1 through 4. Or get it like 5 or 6 with the fez on jigsaw. Leather face in a turban, rip dirty Moors lips off. Disrespecting the mother Raz Mariah Bay. Wrap him up like double crochet, the barbed wire way. Throw him off a bridge or feed him to the piranhas. Yellow journalists Moors spread nothing but propaganda. Idi Amin Bay, treat the temple like Uganda. Dirty Moors like foreigners, crush the dust like ganja. Not worthy of being Moors, we call them dirty Nehesus. Solomon Seal spell command 72 demons to get you.
This is what the temple guys actually said. That Canaanland is not a part of North America. Canaanland is bigger. Yo, it's ignorant, man. I mean, come on, you're talking about the same landmass. Canaanland is actually bigger than the landmass they know as the corporate United States. Almost twice as big. And if they had any sense, they could just go to Google and they can type in North America and find out North America goes all the way up to Greenland. But they're ignorant. They don't want to do that. They just dealing off emotion.
You might hear hoarse voices, see frog faces, and hoots for feet. Demons we run with, spit fire with gold wolf teeth. Keep playing, forget back teeth. New Moors are an issue, get Ginsu. Maybe a dream visit from Vishnu, a nightmare to never end and always continue. Cold as an igloo, dealing with my trust issues through vigilance. Active Moors are militants, SPLC dirty Moors call that sovereign citizen. Lying for views, they notice all the empty pews. Benz need gas and fixing, but not enough dues. Pigpen base sell you out for peanuts, claiming that we nuts for teaching birthright street level, keeping it beat nuts.
To any members of the MFTA that's out there listening to what I'm saying, please get it through your head. I don't have a problem with the MFTA. I got issues with
Kendrick Lamar, stay surrounded by feathers. Dirty's guilty of fraud if dually scrutinize their ledgers. Getting proclamations from Morocco, disrespect us. Corporate city only recognize people's court jesters. Hand in their back, Moorish puppets and minions. Never get the human rights recognition like Moors near Virginia. Commonwealth, for active Moors knowledge, the Commonwealth. Dirty's claim more, but really on the straw man help. Authenticating a birth certificate, that's not significant. Civil little more two status syndicates. In more face, watch them two more status Indians claiming Turtle Island are lying, so intricate.
long days and long nights. But this message needed to be heard.
Yes. It's Tuesday. Canaanland Moors. Tuesday class that we've been doing, been doing Tuesday class. We've been doing Tuesday class. Islam to all Moors. So, since people want to play games, need you be reminded. The first thing is this lady. Actually, let me see if I find the thing. Because people are tripping. I don't know why people are tripping, but people are tripping. And the level of trip that they're tripping is borderline. You're just nuts. Borderline, you're just nuts. Because you can't live in such a world of hypocrisy and expect anything. Especially if you create the world of hypocrisy that you're existing in. But it's absolute hypocrisy when it comes to our people. And I say our people very loose and vague. Because we're Moors, we have a nationality. Anybody else, I can't talk for them or their actions. But for the sake of all this unity BS people are talking about, and everybody, doesn't matter what you call yourself, okay, fine. Our people. So since we're our people right now, we're going to be bluntly honest with you, because nobody else is going to be bluntly honest with you, because everybody else is stealing your birthright. But you don't even know what a birthright is because your dumbass doesn't study. And then you're mad at Moors. Why are Moors rude? Why are you rude? I mean, why am I rude? Would you rather licks? Would you rather me make you go pick a switch so I could beat your ass? So you're going to have to take stern talks.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to call CAS because I pull out the belt or whatever? You're going to call Children's Services because I pull out the belt to beat your ass because you're whatever? Okay, fine. I'm going to ring your ears then. Call them for that. And I would ring your ears so hard. I would ring your freaking ears so hard, playing stupid around here.
My mom used to ring me and my brother's ear before we went in the store. I already know y'all gotta act up. Come here now. He used to ring it before we went in the store.
Right, so our people, you are a bunch of hypocrites, and your hypocrisy is your downfall. Your hypocrisy is your downfall. Right? It's their downfall.
Yeah, it seems like he was just the kind of athlete, the kind of star that was perfectly cast on the Los Angeles Lakers. Wow. So if I can ask you to stay with us, we're gonna go.
Why are you mad? Why are you mad? Why are you mad that she said niggers? What if right before she pulled up to the job, she was bumping some Nipsey Hussle and he said nigger? What if that's why she said nigger? What if she just heard on the radio? Because only time I see guys get mad when somebody says nigger is when European says it. You're mad. And everybody else says it, you're not mad. Why are you not mad? Because you're a hypocrite, that's why. And you're not a hypocrite because of some, because we're mean. You're a hypocrite because you have the mindset of Hippocrates, the European. when you're Asiatic and you have the mindset of a European, that you're going to sit there. You're going to sit there and tell me about fire some European lady for saying nigger on national TV, and you are supporting all these albums and all these whoever's with people calling you nigger, you're a hypocrite. I don't hear none of that race BS because we're Moors. We don't deal with that race BS. So you can FOH with the race BS. Knock that out right now. Not even go in there. Not even go in there. For you to take that cowardly position, opposed to change your mindset and stop making up acronyms for what nigger is just so you can call yourself a nigger. FOH. Well, Tupac said nigger is whatever, so that's why we're niggers. Shut the hell up. Tupac. You guys don't even honor the dead. That is play games. All you do is play games. So stop playing games. And we're here to tell you, because we know the game better than anybody else, because as Moors, they played me out my birthright. These people aren't getting away with playing me out my birthright. Every chance I get, calling out all of them. Because I study to know about the sellout. And I went through Adab Chamber. And all of them know in the Moorish Science Temple or whatever, know I went to Adab Chamber. They don't talk any BS about the other Moors that went through the Adab Chamber when I went through. I don't hear nobody calling them out and putting their face in videos and stuff like that. How come? How come the people who put me through the Adab Chamber, ain't nobody putting their face on nothing like that and saying that, oh yeah, these guys are a fraud or nothing like that? So if you're not going to do that to them, then how could you look at me and say I'm the fraudulent whatever? When the same people who sanction me sanction all you people who are around here today saying that you're Moorish Science Temple and now you got virtual temple and you're the number one of the online whatever, the hell out of here. You people are Johnny come latelys. You haven't gone through the trenches. You're just always in the spotlight. Just like certain people stay in the spotlight, so every year in Philadelphia, they can get their little flag raising BS just for their temple. Not for the Moors as a whole, not for the nation, even though they have a nationality and all that stuff. That they have it so locked down that if you're not part of their temple, you can't file any papers in that jurisdiction. That's people who were in the spotlight. When this is not about spotlight. This is not about show off. This is about liberate the minds of our people at all costs. And take no BS from any traders. Because the traders are why we're in the mess right now that we're even having this conversation. European does not outnumber us. We can't lose. So this is not a physical whatever. We can't lose. We're the majority on the planet. Everybody's Asiatic on the planet. There's a few people who are modern Europeans. And they're subsidiaries. Small percentage. We're the majority. So this is not a physical thing because we're the majority. We beat them on the, I don't care what type of weapons they got. You take all these sisters on their menstrual and the moon's right and all that stuff, forget these people's weapons. When we go into voodoo and Santeria and Obia and witchcraft and stuff, forget these people's weapons. So they can't win on that level. The problem is the people's mindset. And the people's mindset's been corrupted and coerced into a stream that they're not even supposed to be there. Noble Drew Ali said, Moors with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. You know how intelligent, how spiritually inclined someone has to be on that level? Eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. You don't know it all, but I know enough that you are not playing me. You might be able to play all these other dummies out here who don't think and who fake study and all that stuff. You might be able to run game on them, but you can't run game on people who know what's up. And because we study and our knowledge base is vast, we know what's up. Many of people that claim that they're some type of Moorish whatever. When he's now again, Noble Drew Ali presented to all the classified people, Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian, whatever you call yourself, came to all of them and brought them certain keys for them to get their mental freedom, because it wasn't about physical stuff. Once you take what was presented, you fact check everything, you apply everything that you fact check, you're going to be able to come to a conclusion as to what did Noble Drew Ali bring for the Moors? Why don't we hear about him? Why was his message so powerful that whatever answer you come up with, you're going to come to that conclusion? Some grand whoever, supreme whoever is not going to come to that conclusion for you. You're going to come to that. Why? Because even Noble Drew Ali told you that this is your temple, he's your prophet, and this is your movement. So if it's yours, why are you letting people tell you something about this and then you having some type of expectation when these people are sellouts? And the whole purpose is to get the people not to think for themselves, having somebody think for them, not using your own common sense. When that should be paramount. Using your common sense. Right? Now somebody said something in the chat about temple. You could call the temple number 647-748-6664. Leave a message and we'll get back to you. And Europeans are Moors. Europeans are Moors only if you don't put modern in front of Europeans. Because Moors ruled Europe, not some Europeans. So they don't even have claim on that. They don't have a home. That's why you can't even count them as a nationality, because they don't even have a home. And we have to bring people into civilization, show them what having a home is. Show them that. And we show them that. So these people know that we're Moors, because we taught them everything that they know. So the Europeans aren't the problem, because Europeans are us. Dark-skinned people. Modern Europeans, that's the experiment. Not part of the human family, because they don't have hue. Nothing personal, that's just what it is. If they don't have hue and they don't have a home, then they don't have any claim. Which is why they do everything on paper so they can make claims, because they would have jurisdiction over that paper that they're making the claim about. So they get rid of all the maps in circulation and put out their own map that says Canada. Canada. Right? United States. That's what it says on the map. So according to European psychology, those are two countries. Because it's on the map. It's just what it is. With lack of researching and using their common sense, people have been duped into falling into this created jurisdiction on paper and thinking that's land. Now think how warped you are as a being living, and everything that you reference that you think is where you're stepping, that's actually only on paper. And where you're stepping has absolutely nothing to do with that paper. That is a photocopy. Creating something on paper, creating something artificial. That is a photocopy of how modern Europeans came into existence by dark-skinned people. Right? Oh, hold on a sec. This might be a good one. Hold on. Peace, more. Islam.
Yes, brother. How you doing?
Yo, just in class right now.
Oh, you're in class?
Yeah.
Oh, I messed up on the spelling on the name of the case review clerk.
Yeah.
It's not an appropriate time to give it to you?
Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna write it down right now.
Okay.
You already know what time is. Yeah, go ahead.
It's C, first name.
Yeah.
Dot.
Yeah.
Laverly, Lavallee.
Right.
And her title is Case Review Clerk.
And just because we know that, you're being recorded because we're live right now.
Okay.
What is the point of us contacting the La Valley case review clerk from our conversation earlier?
The point of it is to establish that I am with the Moorish Science Temple and I have support from the Moorish Science Temple. Mainly Cujo Adwa'al, Grand Sheik of Temple number 5. And basically I'm welcome at Temple all the time. And he's willing to support me spiritually.
Islam. Right. All right. So, and all the other information that you gave me is correct. I don't need anything else for that.
No, nothing else.
All right. Now, just verify, right? Before we get off, just verify that when you were in a certain jurisdiction, there were Moors who we both know that they were secretly coming to talk to you without letting me know that they're coming to see you.
Yes, that is true. I could put that on record.
All right, Islam more. Give thanks, yo.
Yeah, do you want me to name them? I'll name them.
Oh, sure. If you want to name them, sure. Put their name out there.
So
why not?
Camera El Bay and Captain Nino El Bay.
Okay.
Camera El Bay was like the main lead.
Yeah.
Right, and then Captain El Bay was just doing basically printing out the forms, the documents for me.
Right. And
he had me sign.
And all the documents were sealed and stuff like that.
Yes, they're sealed.
All right. All right, more. I'm gonna work on these this week.
Islam to all.
Islam, more.
Yes, Islam. Peace and love.
Peace and love, more.
Yes.
Peace, more. I apologize. I forgot to push the damn thing button. I didn't even know I didn't push it. The merge button.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I was there, but I wasn't there. I was listening in class.
Oh, you were listening? All right. Okay. So you still got it.
Technology is crazy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right. So, like we're saying, these fake jurisdictions that are created and people thinking that those are a reality and then presenting it to you. Now, the call that you just got, put it on the record about the secret things going on behind the Grand Sheik's back. And people are looking at the Grand Sheik as, I'm the one that's doing madness. Right? Now, that Moor who just called, been building with that Moor. Been building with him. And these Moors were charging. These Moors were charging a Moor who was on lockdown. Think about that. These are Moors who are saying, don't hear what Cujo's saying or whatever like that, because, we're Canadian and all this. They're Moorish Canadians and whatever. Trying to cause confusion. But those Moors are the ones who are secretly going behind Cujo's back to build with a Moor, because the Moor is in a situation and they realize that it's a fiat game and he has whatever connections he has on the outside that they can get some fiat. And they're charging a Moor. And that's not even the half. Because the reason why I asked about the sealed paperwork is because they used to come to the temple with paperwork. And, you know, they're members of the temple. Because of your membership in the temple, you get certain privileges. One of the privileges is you have access to witnesses. You have access to documents being sealed. You have access to a printer to print your documents. You have access to letterhead. You don't got to create no letterhead. You have access to everything that you need as a member of the temple. These people were taking advantage of that. These people would come to the temple and say, yeah, just here to get some Qurans or whatever like that, so that, you know, we could spread the word and the whatever. And they would take the Qurans that we have, the 101 questionnaires, the Moorish literature, they would take those off the wall in stacks. They would take them off the wall in stacks. And then people are telling us they bought those. But we're the dirty ones, because we're not with some supreme grand whoever, with some grand major temple, who these people sold out your birthright. And they're sitting in the seats of power with your birthright sold out. Why you think they could tell you 25 cents dues and BS like that, and they don't got rent to pay or whatever? The hell you talking about? You're not in your own land. This is occupation. So unless you know somebody who's going to gift you some property, you're either buying it so it's yours, or you're renting. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. $0.25 for dues, and then you got lights on and places carpeted with the pews and then and everything. We already know that's how all the black guys get their stuff. So don't think that you're getting away with something. Don't think that we don't see that you have a mausoleum for your reincarnated prophet guy. And in 1929, 1930, 1940, 1950, where are you getting mausoleum money? And you're Moors. And then there's nothing in the nation, nothing to show, but these heads of this imaginary whatever with mausoleums. And when they're walking, a Moor is holding their umbrella and BS like that. And that's the leadership that you're telling me that, oh, because I'm not down with that, we're dirty? Then we're dirty. Because we would never be in bed with you traitors. Because we know what all of you did. We know what all of you did. The fact that we paid our dues to say we're Canaanland Moors. We didn't pop up yesterday. That's like the Moor that called me today. He goes to a temple. Temple is telling him, we don't teach that in here, when he's telling them about civics. This is Moorish Science Temple of America. This Moor couldn't get a Quran from the temple. Remember, I just told you that we were giving those in stacks to Moors, because that's their birthright. Don't worry about how we got 500 copies. Just know that we got 500 copies. Because it's our birthright. We have a duty to provide what it is necessary for the members. Because, you know, it's an organization or whatever. And then it's up to the members to, you know, they're gonna do whatever they're going to support it or not going to support it. You can't say that it's not there. Can't say that the prophecy didn't manifest. Nobody really wanted temples out here. There's temples out here. They might not have a physical building, but everywhere there's a Moor who's a member of Canaanland, temple number 5, wherever they're at, they're a temple. So we got temple in Germany, we got temple in Switzerland, we got temples South Africa, we got temples all over this globe. All over. Where you been? Moore said, I have to go tell my son that I talked to Cujo. Because I've been watching you for years. And I'm starstruck right now. Like I'm talking to Cujo on the phone. I've been calling Moore Science Temples for 5 years. No callbacks. And then, you know, he's different more, so, you know, you might not just want to reach out to him. You might get something you don't want or whatever. So I'll just wait until the opportunity presents itself, and I'll talk to him then. And then talking to realize that, hey, he's not that bad. Like, oh, these people are talking. Well, these people are talking. You swear that this more Cujo, he's like dirty. No, far from it. Eons from dirty. Why? Because who brought us up? Because they were right and exact and clean and pure with this. When it came to this, and more vendors. Like the ones who brought us up, like they weren't playing around with this. And all of them said, this is our birthright. Canaanland's your birthright. No queen have no jurisdiction over you. She's a queen from Europe. She's not even on the landmass. And she has jurisdiction? How? They're telling us about we're Moorish Canadians. Moors who brought us up. Never once have I ever heard any of the master teachers refer to us as being Moorish Canadian. Never, ever. Thought didn't even come up. Hey, why don't you guys call yourself Moorish Canadian since you're in Canada? Because everybody who has any intelligence whatsoever knows that Canada is a corporation. Canada is a corporation called Hudson's Bay. Hudson's Bay. B-A-Y. And you already know the bays are the bays. Corpse, not a country. Not a country. It doesn't have a constitution. Nothing is legitimate. Nothing. Everything fraud. Top to bottom. top to bottom. It's a lot more.
It's a lot more.
You know, I was ranting a little bit.
No, that's all good. They need it sometimes. I was going to bring up the fact, you know, the same thing you said at the beginning and what you just said at the end there to bring it all in. When you was talking about the lady who had said that what did she call it? The nakers? The niggers?
Yeah.
Right.
The knockers. The
But
knockers. The knockers? Yeah, the knockers. The nakers.
Yeah, right. That's another, they threw the rocks over there and everybody looked.
Yeah.
You know, because it's back to the distraction, because we all know who the true niggers are.
Mm-hmm.
So for her and for anybody to entertain it, distract it. Because if you're studying, you already know that has nothing to do with nothing. But now, because everybody's attention is towards it, that means that it's a distraction, because we know that the niggers are the true modern Europeans.
Right.
Like, those are the true niggers.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's up there and everybody who's dark skinned or unknown Moors get all upset, when that happens, it's because they're distracted. They're not studied. And that video, when you were just talking about Canada being a corporation or not having a constitution, the video you had put up earlier, I watched it, and the two guys who wrote the book, or Old Canada or whatnot, that they put together, the information that they was giving out in the years and when this was signed and when this happened, and I was just listening to him, just like the guy with the long hair. I'm like, the way he's talking, I'm like, he has no time to do anything else but study that. Like, I can tell, like, look how you're just talking. His partner who helped write the book, him too.
Yeah.
The way they was talking, they were in the libraries in the 70s. In the 70s, he's trying to put together this book and going to different libraries, and I'm like, I wonder if I even ask him a certain athlete's name, would he even know? You know, and you know, back to the distractions, because here, or us as our people, we can name off, me too, you know, just because of the controlling the narrative, we can name off stats, players from different teams and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly, all distractions mean nothing. But I bet you we can't name off stuff like the dude did in that video you put up. Like, when did this happen? When did they sign this? When did this become this?
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that because of the distractions. That's what I be like. The nakers and everybody's going crazy over. Did you see the girl? Did you see the lady say? Did you see the lady say? And these guys over here telling you, you know, Canada, and breaking it down. We didn't be doing the research since the 70s. They don't even care about what does that mean? And she said that. What's that mean? What happens? What's a distraction?
Mm-hmm.
So that was bugging me out, because I'm like, he doesn't even know who. If I ask him, the two old dudes, like, yo, any of y'all know who Penny Hardaway is? They be like, what? Looking at me. Like, who's Penny? What's that? You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to, some guy, was he in the British something? Like, see? Like, but we can name what team he played for, when he retired, all of that. But can't tell you nothing about what treaty, what happened then, nothing, because we accepted distractions. We accepted distractions, and that's another downfall. That's why we're at where we're at, and they can just keep playing the game. They can keep playing the game, because we're over here. Did you hear the lady say nakers, or knickers, or whatever? Like, distraction. Said it yesterday. Nationality is the order of the day. They threw some rocks over there and said Kobe Bryant. Everybody looked. You know, like, they was over there standing up for their rights for their guns. We said that yesterday. They threw knickers over there. Everybody looked. Stop worrying about their rights for having guns in their house and stuff like that, or the right to bear arms or whatnot. Distracted by everything else that's going on. bunch of distractions. But these people, well studied. There's people that's well studied.
Yeah.
Like, not distracted. You're not getting me. I'm not paying that no attention.
Yeah.
But it's just
Not
something with
falling.
our people.
Not falling for the okie doke.
Yep. Every time. Every time. And then when you don't fall for the okie doke and you're over there, well, you know, I'm not really worried. I don't want to really hear that. They giving you the side eye now. Like, why you always with that other, like, why? Why is that? That's the other thing too. Now you in trouble because you're trying to study, you know what I mean? You're trying to figure out what's going on, but then somebody comes with the distraction, and because you don't want to accept it, now you're frowned upon.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. Crazy.
And that's back to divide and conquer, confusion being spread, you know, controlling the narrative, and those who know just sit back and watch.
Yep. Watch it play out.
Yep.
Right, mother. One of the more on the chat said, I used to go to the temple on Webster Street in Washington, D.C. I know R. Jones Bay, P. Chase L., and a lot of other brothers at that temple. I personally had to learn and find out. I will not say the word sellout because I know some people that really just do not know, and some people are stuck in their ways. Most of the Moors that go to temple in Washington, a lot come from being incarcerated. Right? Because this was really the first prison ministry. Prison ministry has been going on. Because remember, that's Inquisition, and that's how they stopped the Moors. Imprison them, torture them. It's called Inquisition. Recognize that's what it is. That's like the people talking about the whole Mississippi and the stuff going on in the jail in Mississippi. It's like they're stateless. What do you mean a petition for them to stop doing that to the pigs because the pigs have human rights or whatever? What are you talking about? People are stateless. They're a number in there. They're a number in there. But different when you deal with Moors, because like the Moor who just called, he's not just a number in there. When we send him nail, we put it in his free national name and he gets it. But he got kidnapped under some straw name. They're telling him Mr. Bay in there. Why is he Mr. Bay and that guy's a number? That's where it comes in that, okay, you have some rights. But again, your sellout leaders who took Moorish Science Temple of America, made it a church, and then now they've been playing church for so long that Moors with eyes wide open step up now and they're saying, what the hell is this? You ain't going to that. What are you going to that for? That's church. You just left church. You're going back to church. And then people abandon their birthright. Work to perfection. Work to perfection. Because people didn't have any other avenues. Just like the Moor. Moor in the chat said it. The Moor that called me earlier today said, I went to temple. Not like they didn't go to the temple. They went there. And when they went there, they saw that this stuff is messed up. And only because of them being guided by Allah were they able to not give up their birthright and say, you know what, I'm still going to do some research. I got to find a Moor somewhere that I could talk to. 2 years, you're calling places and nobody's getting back to you? What are you talking about? Like, I personally make all the callbacks. I know people call. I know for a fact that people want to know about Moorish Science Temple. I know this for a fact. Everybody wants to join the Moorish Science Temple. Why? Because they found out about Noble Drew Ali and what he left, and they want to be part of it. Makes sense. But when you go try to be part of it and it's looking like church, it's not looking like what you've been studying for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years or 1 year. It's looking like you questioning, what the hell is this? How did I just walk into? Right? And then, like the Moor said, more starstruck. Because he's talking to a Moor. He's trying to get a hold of Moors, can't reach Moors. A Moor called him and he's going nuts. And then they're hating on him because he's Mexican, so he's not really a Moor. This is Moorish Science Temple talking like that. This is Moorish Science Temple talking like that. What's Moor gonna do? If that's how the temple's treating people, still treating them like they, and then they got nerve to say that we're trying to play some type of club thing when we have members from Switzerland. What are you talking about? We have members all across the world. Just so that people could say, yes, I'm part of a temple. Like Noble Drew Ali said, be part of the temple. I honor Noble Drew Ali. I want to be part of the temple. Well, you're not a Moor because you're not part of our temple in Washington. So because you're not part of our temple, you're not really a Moor. What are you talking about? How is that person not a Moor because they're not part of your temple? How? How? Crazy. These are Moors talking like this. The Moors talking like this. So there has to be the switch over. It can't be what these people have been talking. It can't be. There's too many people coming to the realization of this birthright. Like we're saying, we ship to prisons because people in there find us and call and talk to their chaplain calls, say, I'm from whatever prison or whatever. We have some people in here that say they're Moors and we need Holy Qurans, or we need, 101 questionnaire, or, is there anything we could print out for them or whatever, so we could print for them and then they could have some literature. We're not getting paid for that. We're not getting no government funding or whatever like that. We just answer the phone. That's all. All we do is answer the phone. And that's the impact that it's having. That somebody has a case review for their parole. And they're not getting questioned on why are they using Moorish Science Temple as a reference point. And remember, this individual was in there, found out about Moorish science or whatever like that, proclaimed his nationality and all that stuff in there. He went in there as Negro black colored. And again, it's one of the institutions where they're contacting us to get things for the quote unquote housed there. The kidnapped people. Right? Prophet Noah Ali said some of his best Moors are in the church. They are not bad people. They are just believing more of a church type temple. There were Moors that would travel to different prisons and give speeches. They would not do anything to help us get released. I personally am going to change this continent. There are things that I will change this continent. I'm going to continue the real way of how we need to know civics. And don't forget, there's people who've been doing this before you. So you're not doing nothing special, spectacular, doing what has to be done. Because the people need it. And you're going to do the best you could do. But like we say, you know what I mean? People want to play games or whatever like that. When I tell you, these people are vampires and they would suck you dry just because you're giving your time. Forget anything else that you might want to give. Just because you're giving your time, they're going to vampire you. That's why you always have your bag of salt on you, so you can just sprinkle some salt so that they don't get you. Just so they don't get you. Because when you look at Moorish Science Temple of America, and you're talking about going from prison to prison to doing whatever. That's missionary work. That ain't nothing. That's what has to be done. The question is, why hasn't it been done? The question is, why is it they used to do this? They used to go do this. The Moors used to, but now, what do you mean? Why used to? How come Moors aren't doing it still? Because our own sold this out. So now you better do it. I already knew that it wasn't going to be anybody else to establish this here. Because we already had the connects with Aleem and those people from mid-2000s. This wasn't some, some brothers decided to whatever, and then they gave a charter and whatever. No, all this was divinely planned. This is things that were foresaw. We had oracles and stuff like that as black guys. That's why I'm telling you about the witchcraft. We had oracles, go into trance and all that stuff and tell you stuff, and then, you know what I mean? What they tell you, that's what it is. You go, you implement whatever you implement, and then you give whatever offering they say that you have to give, and your stuff gets handled. Because you communicated with behind the veil. Witchcraft. You draw the pentagram, you put all the candles on all the angles. You say the chant, you put the glass on the thing, and the glass is gonna spell stuff. But witchcraft's not some evil stuff. It's ours. It's all part of our culture. It's all part of what we lost because we were too coward. We didn't take the position of B. All these whoever's and whatever's that have some type of live access, those people are Johnny come latelys. They just came yesterday. When we were out here as black guys, our circle was Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett. Wasn't the Black History guys? We were on the metaphysical side. So when we got to more science, this stuff just made absolute sense. Absolute sense. Made absolute sense to the point where the Moors that we got chartered from recognized the absolute sense that we were talking, which is why we got a charter. Because when we told them our foundation, that's their foundation. I don't know them. I'm from Toronto. How is it that we're from Toronto and we're going on a 14-hour bus ride from Toronto to Chicago? And we leave there with everything that Noble Drew Ali said it takes to save a nation. And those Moors said, this is everything Noble Drew Ali said it takes to save a nation. Now you take it and save yourself. What do you mean? This is everything it takes to save a nation. So take it and save yourself. The Queen doesn't have any jurisdiction over you. What are you talking about? Okay. This stuff that we give you right here, you got 14 hours to read as much of this stuff that you could read before you get back. And by the time you get back, you should realize what's going on. So as we're going, and we're just reading and building, and see how it says whatever here, pointing at each other's books, whatever we're reading or whatever on the bus trip. We get to the Detroit border. The Detroit border. And the bus stopped at going through the toll. And there was a building. There was a building, a white building that was like just chipped up or whatever. And at the top of the building, it had a Mex something on the building. A Mex something. And that was one of the signs. Because that was just reading that. Just reading that, and then of all things that this building could say, it says a Mex on it. This must be something. By the time we got back, it was all in. Hearing about Moors, hearing certain names, remembering all the DVDs that we had, and then going through all those DVDs to find all the Elzen Bay DVDs that were in there. That as the black guys, we blew past it because we didn't think this was anything. What the hell are these guys with the funny hats or whatever? Just like how people talk today, trying to make a mockery of Moors. But after you study, you realize that this is real. This is the real deal Holyfield. Like, this is real. And these Moors took it from a position of prophecy manifesting. These are Moors that we didn't know from anything. All of us, oh, you need a, okay, here's the number. Just tell them I gave you the number. Okay. That's how we got hooked up with Alim. Oh yeah, look, here's his number. Call this morning. I'm definitely sure he'll make it to where you're at to do a lecture. Since you've been trying to get a hold of all these Moors and nobody's getting back to you. Same stuff that we went through. Moor said, don't worry, call Alim. He goes everywhere. That was the first Moor. That was one of our first master teachers. Alim and Kadira El Bey. Right? Like feet of the masters learning, not over some phone or whatever. Bring them here for us to learn. And there's probably 4 people around still from that time. We brought him here a second time. Another wave. And about, 5 people from that time. We brought him here another time. And then, maybe about 50% of those people are still with it. So we know that the people want this. And we know that people have been playing games with you for a very long time. And you better take hold of the reins and do not let, unless you sanction somebody, like we tell people, nobody else was willing to do the job of Grand Sheik out here, which is why I'm Grand Sheik. All the other jobs, sure, no problem. All the other posts, positions, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. People stepped up for those. Seats vacant. You want to step up? Okay, fine. Let's go. Let's do this. Right? Because our master teachers, who all these people know, who all these grand whoever's pre us already met with them, sat down, they're not dealing with civics. Period. They're not dealing with civics. All they're dealing with is one noble Jew, Ali Ibra, religious Moors, temple Moors. Every single one of our master teachers met with somebody out there who's claiming that they're a Moorish whatever, conscious whatever, whatever. If we line up all our master teachers, each one of them is going to have a line behind them of people that they met with that are in the whatever realm of knowledge of self. And how come they didn't get with what the master teachers were saying? How come they're doing some other BS? And I'm not supposed to look at them as a sellout? Because I already know the master teachers aren't no sellout. I already know that. Why? Because they're master teacher. You call them on the phone. You'd have to pay some ransom in order to talk to them. We're not just mere students. Anybody. Or Canaanland, you know G.S. Cujo? No. Who's that? We're the grand whoever out here. You don't know G.S. Cujo? How come you don't know G.S. Cujo and you're the grand whatever for Canada? How come you don't call your stuff Canaanland and all that? Nah, well, you know, those Moors, they're not whatever. Trust me, for a long time, this is where it's been at. Because people want to learn. People want information. That's all. They want to get their mind right so they can stop getting played, because they've been getting played all their life. You're always going to have this element of the great schism, the sellout. It's always going to be there. Remember Matrix when they said everybody's a potential agent if they're not one us? Exact same concept. If you go to a temple, all amped up, yeah, go to the temple, yeah, you get in there, and then you realize that the energy alone is making you feel messed up. You just became the hen in the fox den. And you mention physics, or they're plucking you on the spot. They might even kick you out just because you said the C word. Just because you said the C word. Civics, Constitution. People lose it. Oh, you got circle 7 and the broken quadrant is orange. It's not blue or what? Oh, you guys are where you come from. Who are you? You can't come in here with that and all that. But this says the same stuff that you guys say. Oh, no. Let me see the inside. Oh, no. That has like a... You played games with this. It's people's birthright. It's the people's birthright. If they want it, hey, they can take it. Like I say, I got my birthright. So, whatever. Really not concerned, really. Man is spirit, not the flesh. And since we're here in the flesh, it's going to be run a certain way. It's not going to be run how people think that they want it to run. Right? Use your common sense. Study. Show yourself approved to yourself. Forget trying to impress somebody out here so you could get a charter. Don't even go down those roads there. You better show yourself approved to these people right around you that you know. You better show yourself approved to yourself. Like Amor said, look in the mirror and then look in the eyes in the mirror. Just look in the mirror. Look in the eyes in the mirror. See if you could do that. You do that, you're on your way. Now, use your common sense. Right? People did their little thing. They had the map, right? And then in the part of Canada, they said, this is where Cujo's from. He's Moorish Canadian. Then the bottom part has their stuff, and they say, we're Moorish American because we're in America. But the spot that they're on in the map says United States. So hold on a second. So tell me if this isn't a sellout. denationalizer. So you're not going to go with the name on the map. You're going to say you're American. And that's cool. But we're supposed to say we're the name on the map when you're not saying that you're the name on your map. How are we supposed to call ourselves the name on the map, Canadian, but you're going to call yourself Moorish American on your side of the map? But it doesn't say American there. It says United States on the map. It's like you're a sellout. You're trying to make me give up my birthright. You trying to make me give up my birthright? Never would I give up my birthright. Because I know you traitors. I know you traitors. Your job is to cause confusion. Oh, they're not Moors because they say that they're Canaanland Moors. And then Moorish Americans and the Moorish Science Temple are the real Moors of the wood. Don't fall for any of this BS. There's been a game people are playing. It's a game people are playing. What birthright does nature provide? Nationality. Birthright. Hence, the NAT in nature and the NAT in nationality and nation and NATO and all the NAT, all those stuff are the same frequency. So if you're gonna capitalize nature and all that stuff and talk about nature, then nationality is right along with that. The same power that you give to nature, give to nationality. Because both of them are the NAT prefix. All those NAT words have the same power behind them because they're all derived from nature. And if it's natural, like the person is natural, or corporate, well, we're natural. If I'm a natural person, then I probably have a nationality. I'm not going to be a natural person and then I don't have a nationality. Use your common sense. There's a lot more.
A lot more.
You got anything to throw in right now?
No, you was going in. Been going in too. Been going in. Been going in.
Oh yeah, I was gonna play our friend right now.
Okay.
Yeah, since we're here. Right. There's always gonna be the element. You have to have the knowledge for yourself. Like we say in our temple, everybody's supposed to be Grand Sheik. That's what we say in our temple. You go to other temples, say that, see what the response is that you get. That's what we push in our temple. We don't push that there's one Grand Sheik in our temple. We don't push that, oh yeah, you have to go to Cujo to get a signature or an autograph on your paperwork for the. No, you go to any of these Moors. What do you mean? All these Moors in here are qualified. All these Moors are qualified. All of them could stand on their own square. Want to play title games? Okay, I'm that guy. You want to play nation? Then all of us are that post.
Yeah. That remind me of the signatures when people go crazy looking for signatures.
Yeah.
And people charging for signatures.
Charging.
But then again, you can't blame nobody but yourself, because if you were studying, you would already know, you know, like the prophet said, get your house in order first. If you took that step first and then studied, you would have already known that the people in your household would have been your signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Or wherever you're at, you know,
right.
you building with other more right next to you. That's your signatures right there.
Mm-hmm.
This is consanguinity, nationhood, not clubism. If you think in clubism, then you got to go find the club people and join that club. When you talking nationhood and consanguinity, Prophet said, get your house in order. You get your house in order first. Then once that is, you can get my signature was the Moabite. That's who one of my witnesses was my Moabite on the signature. Like she already, like I was like, oh, because I studied, I already knew. I'm like, wouldn't that be people around me that signed it?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it meant to me.
Right.
Because I studied. It's the studying. I can't believe people were charging for $500 for signature. $500 for signature.
500
for the signature.
For signature. Yep. Oh, we're gonna play our friend, but we got one better. Hold on one sec more.
Yeah.
Let's get this more on the line. There we go. Yeah, let's get this one on the line. Do it this way. Bear with me, Morris. Yeah, let's try this again.
Hello?
Peace, bro.
How you doing?
Well, everything's good, man. How you doing? I just got brother Yusuf on the phone as well, and
oh, peace.
yeah. So I was gonna say that you could also ask him about the stuff. You could ask him about the stuff too with the school. I think that would be a good segue. Before we talk about that thing, that situation that you had, or that experience you had going to the Moorish Science Temple.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah. So I don't know if you had any questions about the school thing, but you could ask Brother Yusuf, because him and his Moabite have dealt with that realm that we were talking about, you know. So
yeah, basically just I don't know if he has any knowledge on that about, you know, my son was put on a list for English learners, because when we initially signed them up, like in preschool, they give you a form and ask you if you speak any other language other than English in your house. And my wife being honest, you know, but yeah, because she was proud, you know, we're teaching them Spanish and English. So, you know, she put, yeah, we teach them Spanish. So in doing that, they now label him as an English learner, and he's on a list. They send this list, apparently they told me they send it to the state, so the state has record. So he's considered an English learner, which means he has to test out of it to get out of it. But in doing so, it's not just English and language arts and stuff like that. They're adding math on it to it as well, which, you know, he's struggling in math, and you know, everything else he's cool on, but it's the math part that he has problems with. But if they're saying it's, you know, to help kids who need extra help with, you know, learning English, then, you know, math doesn't really have anything to do with it. But being on that list too, if he doesn't test out of it before he gets to high school, then again, he's gonna have to take English learner classes in high school, and, you know, so he's not gonna be able to take like the regular classes like everybody else, which is, you know, they're making him basically have to jump through extra hoops and everything just because they never disclosed to us, you know, what we were signing, what was gonna happen if we quit, you know. And later on, I found out a lot of people in the community know, you know, that little trick. So even, you know, there's some families here, the parents don't speak English at all. They speak nothing but Spanish to their kids because they know they're going to learn English in school either way. So they'll lie and say, yeah, we only speak English to them in the house because they already know, but we didn't know. So I don't know if he has any you know, experience with that. I know it's a little different maybe than anything he might have dealt with previously. Yeah, it's a lot more. It's just like I've never heard of that before. I've never ran into nothing like that out here. And because, you know, like we're in the largely, you know, so-called Hispanic, you know, community out here, so a lot of the fans do, you know, speak English. So I figure, you know, but yeah, anything you might be able to add or anything you might be able to, you know, put me up on, I'd appreciate. Right. Because another thing too, like I never heard that thing, but I know a couple of things, you know, like you know, the first thing, the paper that you filled out that they sent home asking those questions, you know, I'm wondering when it was signed, did anybody reserve their rights on the contract, you know? And then another thing too, which is a little bit more important, you know, because the prophet said we got to have our own schools. See, that's right. The real main issue. So like a lot of stuff is going to be hard because we got to look at it too at the same time. Like we're going to somebody else's business trying to make them change their business. You know what I mean? And that's going to be pretty hard too. That's why it goes right back to we got to have our own schools. You know, because you don't want to go in there. Now they're going to treat you like an outsider because you're going in there doing not the normal, you know, because that's what ends up happening. But, you know, like a lot of the times, like, because I put it on to my son early, like he was like second grade. It was like second grade. He's in fifth grade now. So I really don't have I've never heard nothing like that. It was one thing that they did try, and I wasn't even there. My Moabite did it, where they were trying to sign him up for some extra help program. And my Moabite, like you said, it's a trick because she knew already, you know, just by studying or whatever, she knew like this ain't what y'all making it seem to be. It seems like if I sign my son up for this program, he gonna be in something at the couple of years down the road. I'm gonna be tricked into doing it. So she was explaining it to these people. She was explaining that to the so-called counselor and the principal at the time. And the counselor lady just told her, well, you don't have to sign it there. She like a whole other paper came out of nowhere, like to try to get like view off my son off of this. Like he's not applying to this, but we have to get you to sign something to like a waiver or something like that, like saying like he doesn't have to do this because of something. But it was a trick, you know. Like they do, like you said, it's a setup. But it always comes down to like, because right now, like my son going into the sixth grade and on, like I'm not trying to let him go to school. I'm trying to take him out of school and do homeschooling. But again, I know that's hard, you know, because I know, you know, Moore's got to go to work. You know, I comprehend that, you know, but I try to set up I don't have a job, you know, I farm, you know, so I'm always home. I'm always home, so I can do that, you know, homeschooling thing, because I'm always here. But another Moors I know, they're going to work, so it's very hard. You know, I know it's hard, but we gotta do something, because we're gonna keep going through this. You're not gonna be the only. It's thousands of people that's going through that right now, because it was, you know, my son goes to a so-called, you know, all-black school, so-called, you know, and I know my son's the only one that didn't get signed up for that program. And I know that whole school's on the program, but but I got him early, you know. Like, I went in there when he was in 2nd grade and let him know and stuff like that. But another thing, too, that I did figure out, that they'll work through the mother. You know, they won't even though that y'all together, you go pick up your son together, showing that, you know, you're together and everything, they'll still bypass the father and work with the mother.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I don't know. I think she might have been the one that actually signed that paper. So that might be harder, because she's not. I tried to explain this stuff to her, and she just not. You know, she doesn't get it. So, and she'd be too scared to speak up and say anything anyway.
Right.
But
So
they deal with me because I deal with them. They won't go, because she won't deal with them. I deal with them directly, and they know me at that school. But, you know, I mean, all I can do is try. Like I said, I mean, if it's our signature, we can rescind our signature on whatever we sign. We'll try to go with that, you know. But
right, because you already know it's fraudulent. It's a fraudulent contract in the beginning.
Yeah, they didn't explain anything. I signed it not knowing, you know. And it's a seal out of a contract anyway. It's only ours.
Right. It's not.
Nobody else.
It's not. Right. Once you already know. Once you use the rules for contract law, you know, it has to be, you know, the person who is signing it, the person who made up the contract, and a witness. And I'm pretty sure none of that. And you already know minorities can't make contracts.
Full disclosure. They didn't disclose anything to me. They didn't tell me what we were signing. They just made it seem like they were interested. Right. You know, what we're. So, you know, I mean, that's all I can do is try to go to war with them and use all that, and, you know,
and even if I'm trouble with, you know, remember I always notice too, even the fight is the victory. Don't think because you didn't get, you know, a favorable reply or you wanted this to happen. No, the fight is the victory. You putting up the fight, letting them know, like, oh, I know the game. Like, that puts a lot of stuff on hold too. You know, like, they already know. Don't try it. None of that black stuff.
I put it in my head too that, you know, I mean, they're teaching him bullshit either way, and he reads really well. So I always tell him, anyway, whatever you decide to do in life, you can always learn how to do it reading, you know. So I don't go hard on him on the math, because I was when I was a kid. My parents went hard on me about the math, and it just turned me off. So, you know, I understand. You know, they teach one way, and everybody learns different ways, but they only teach one uniform way. So, you know, I tell them, you know, whatever you're going to do in life, as long as you can read, and you can learn whatever you need to know by reading, you know. Unless you're going to be something like, you know, scientific, where you're going to actually use math. And, you know, I mean, so what they're teaching them is bullshit anyway, but it's just the principle. I don't like, you know, they did that behind my back. And that was on some list, right?
Right. And, you know, they get kickbacks from that, because that's a minority list. So, you know, they're getting kickbacks.
I told the principal that I'm sure it breaks down to funding. You guys are getting some kind of funding to this. And she just stood quiet, so that told me everything.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but also remember too that there's also the aspect of the program of separate the families, which is why they went behind the back and talked to the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know at home it's going to be a fight about it.
Yep.
Because they could have easily called in to both parents and told them both at the same time, whether they're together or not or whatever. But because they have
the thing too is they had some kind of meeting. They had to tell everybody at this meeting, because they weren't telling people previously, and, you know, the parents were finding out until the kids get into high school, and then they're telling them, well, he can't take this class because he's on this English learning list. So because they weren't telling people about it, they had to have this mandatory meeting. And at the meeting, they're giving you, examples of what's going to be on the test that they have to take. So they gave an example. She held up, you know what a push pin is, right? Like a pack up things up on the wall.
Oh yeah, like a thumbtack or whatever.
Are you familiar with the?
Yeah.
Exactly. So she held up a push pin and she said, "What is this?" And she asked a lot of the parents. A lot of them barely spoke English. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. And she said, "This is a tack. If you put anything other than a tack, then it's wrong." So I raised my hand. I said, "Excuse me, and was this one of the questions that's actually on the test?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "Because that's a push pin. A tack is rounded. It has they're different." I said, "If you go into Walmart and you buy a box of those things, I guarantee you on that box it's going to say push pin and not tack. So right off the bat, your test is whack,
Wow.
She didn't know what to say. She's just like, I said, so that's misleading right off the bat. So how does it, how do they expect us to pass this test when you're asking them stuff like that? I said, you can ask anybody. You go buy that anywhere. It's going to say push pin and not tack. Tacks are different. Tacks are rounded on the side. They are two different things. If we're going to be specific about it,
Right. And that's even grounds for your son to be out of it.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that a lot of these parents don't speak English, so they're just going with the flow. They don't know to speak up and say, "Hey, this is bullshit." They're so scared. A lot of them probably aren't, quote unquote legal or whatever.
Right.
So they're not going to raise any kind of
because they're in the fight themselves. Yep.
Exactly. And that's what they count on, for everyone to be quiet, But I was like, nah, that like got me mad. I was like, right off the bat, I ain't attack. That's a push pin. It's two different things. It might seem like nothing, but it is something, especially when it comes to a test that he's got to take.
Yeah.
And my son is smart. He's going to know that that's a push pin and not a tack.
Yeah. But then, remember though, just because you're already winning. You already, because your birthright. Like your son, when he comes home from that institution, he's getting the true science when he's talking to you. So he knows, he's not just getting BS 24/7. He knows, his mindset is different. Like, I look at my son, like, he comes home and he amazes me, the way he talks. When is mommy going to travel back home to the domicile? And I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? But he's getting off the bus talking like that. You know what I mean? Like, getting off the bus. And I'm like, man, I'm not worried about what I'm worried about. They just got him on some paper program, you know what I mean? Like, so they can make funding. But I know in real life, this is what he is. I don't care what I got on paper. You know what I mean? My son knows exactly what it is. He'll kick y'all behind. You know what I mean? Like, he knows. My son's not in fifth grade, destroying it. He knows United States Corporation. He knows Europeans are not from here. Like, he knows all of that. He knows all of that.
Yeah.
He knows
when
that.
I prepared myself, I'm like, their system is bullshit anyway. I mean, if I had the means to homeschool him, I would. I can't. I kind of have to go with what it is right now. But like you said, I know that I'm starting to teach him, the real here. And it's we're at war. Big chance,
Yeah. We're at war. You gotta remember that too. You know what I mean? And I look at it too with my son, like, because in war, you gotta know your enemy. So you gotta know both sides. You gotta know the BS and you gotta know the true stuff. You gotta know what they doing, so you know how to counteract the BS.
Yeah.
You're already 10 steps ahead of the game. I already know that. Y'all been saying that for years. That's corny. So when he gets older, he's gonna be better than me. You know what I mean? I didn't get this until I was 30. Like 28. You know what I mean? He's second grade. He's boom, boom, boom. First grade, he was on it. Like, he don't. He gets the pep talk every morning. Every morning, the pep talk is the one-on-one questionnaire. We at the bus stop, one-on-one questionnaire. Now I don't he's so impressive. I'd be like, tell me what I want to hear, and he just says the one-on-one questionnaire. Like, that's what it is now. I don't even ask the questions. I say, tell me what I want to hear, and he goes in. Like, that's what it is. I'm like, okay. Remember, you're a Moor. You're the best. You're a Moor. You're the best. Nobody smarty. You're the Moor. Remember that. And he gets on the bus. That's how it is. You know, he comes home, master awards. You know, like everything. My son gets all the awards, all of them. I'll send him to the grand sheet. I'm like, look, he made the honor roll. That's everything. Everything. And I'm like, and then come home. Oh, I know. You know, he types the Constitution. I didn't even know my son knew how to type. I'm like, how you know how to type? He's typing the Constitution. And I'm like, you're amazing. You're amazing.
Yeah. So
I didn't know nothing about the Constitution until I'm 28. He's typing the Constitution in 5th grade.
Yeah, he's on it. That's what's up. Oh yeah. I'm trying to do it little by little. I'm giving them little by little.
Yeah.
Trying to deprogram them and everything. So I just got to keep studying and
Oh, and another one.
At the same time.
Another one too. Brother Yusuf, also talk about the sneak study lesson.
That's going on right now.
Yeah.
I can't even go in like I want to go in. It's going on right now. You know, because the Moabites are always listening. You know what I mean? We do class. I'm talking, because we live in a 2-family house, right? So the Moabite mother's upstairs, but I'm doing class or something like that. Everybody hears, so everybody is sneak studying. The whole house is sneak studying. My Moabite sneak studying. Everybody sneak studying. My Moabite's father sneak studying. The whole house. Even down to her little brother. He come down here and it's Moors and Europeans. Yep. That's what it is. Ain't no black, this white, no, ain't none of that in here. It's Moors and Europeans. The whole house. And he's 11. You know what I mean? He's about to go in 6th grade.
Yeah, it's mine too. Mine's 11 too. He's about to go into 6th grade next year. I didn't think you heard you.
They're going to be better than us. That's what I'm saying. We're already winning. We winning already. Just you making the phone call. I'm like, he's already winning. You don't even know it. I did that too. Like, I'm going in here and I'm going to shimmer everything. And I'm like, my Moabite was the one that told me, why are you doing all of this? Look at your son already knows. And I'm like, yeah, he do already know. Like, I'm going in here tearing up everybody. But my son already know. He already know. My son will tell you about the General Education Board philosophy. He'll tell you about it. You know what I mean? He'll talk to you about it. He'll tell you about it. He knows what's going on. He knows what's going on.
That's what's up. I need to get him up on that level. But little by little, I'm doing that, trying to.
They all sneak studying. That's how my son knows. Why you not doing class, Daddy? Be on me. When you doing class, Daddy? Because he want to hear it. He want to hear it. He want to hear it. He want to hear it.
Good, man. That's the good stuff right there.
You're already winning. You already win. Imagine when your son get 28. Come on.
Yeah. They sit there and watch cartoons. Look, Daddy, he's got a fez on. Look.
Yep, see that?
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if I was a cartoon,
he'll spot it before I spot it now. Like, he'll see it.
Right.
Yep. They're ready to fez.
Every time. So, every time. And be honest. So, you got it. More, you already winning. You got it. You got it.
Yeah,
you're already winning.
You to fine tune everything.
Yeah.
Fine tune everything. There's a lot to learn, but I got the basics at least. So
yeah, and the fine tuning.
I'm watching you guys. I watch you guys all the time. I told my son, I was like, I'm talking to Cujo today. He's like, what? I was like, look, where did this phone call come from? And he said, Ontario, Canada. He's like,
just show up.
When the Grand League show up, they go crazy. My son was going, damn, when she came up here, my son was going, when he left, my son was looking like he was here. Like, I was like, oh, here you go. Here you go. Yeah, he was here.
Yeah, he was.
You know, what was crazy? Like, when we drive somewhere, we take long drives or something, I'm like, I put it on the phone, on the Bluetooth in the car, and we're just like, he knows. I'm like, I'm always listening to you, or Taj, or, Abdullah Bay, you know. Yeah, no,
yeah, those are the real ones.
Even the music.
Yeah, those are the real ones.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Straight.
Yeah, because, you know,
at least with me, when he's with me, he gets the good stuff, but, you know, he's 11, so he's still going to get the
Well, I mean,
bullshit too.
And I see that too in looking at Moors with families who have the slight divide with regard to the Moorish paradigm. You know, the children gravitate to whoever's on the Moorish paradigm.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because there's something intrinsic about the information that resonates with them sort of different. Like, for example, at the temple, you know, on Sunday class, people would bring their children, and the children would have their own session going on downstairs, right? That's something that they're looking for every week. Like, they're looking for that. You know what I mean?
Like instinct or something.
They're looking for it. They want that. You know what I mean? The Moors we talking about, they didn't come to temple. Children are mad. They didn't get to go to the temple on Sunday.
Yep.
Upset. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, I just wish I had something like that down here, man. I can't seem to find nothing down here, man.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the temple and it was bullshit.
Yeah. And then you were saying that it was the whole civics aspect that they were against.
Yeah, as soon as I brought that up, like, the vibe changed.
Yeah.
You know? Because I looked them up online, and then I emailed them, you know, and I was like, I've been learning about my nationality, you know, I wanted to come down there. But they had two different addresses, so I just wanted to confirm where's the address, the date, time, whatever. And then reading it, you know, it said, you know, learn about nationality and birthright, and I guess it's because that's all, you know, them say birthright, I figured, oh, they might be on it, you know. So I went down there, and, you know, I started talking, you know, as soon as I brought up, like, civics, they're like, oh, no, you don't want to get messed, you don't want to get, you know, mixed up in that. You know, you want to avoid that. That's that sovereignty stuff. But then I was kind of like, well, but what does the father mean then when he said, you know, help me in my work to bring my people back in the constitutional vote? Like, what is... And then this is like, you know, like, well, I mean, what's the point of doing that then? Like, well, I don't get what their view is on when he said that. Like, what do they think about that? You know, if it's not civics, like, what else could it be? I don't get it. And like I said, and then earlier I said, you know, the Grand Sheik was up there, but after I talked to Cujo earlier, I went back to my email, and on the email it says he's the secretary, but he's the dude who I talked to who was teaching the class, and he's the one who said he got my email. So I was like, I don't know. The Grand Sheik there was up there teaching, or you're the secretary teaching? I don't know. I didn't get it. And I don't have a question on it at the time because I didn't think about it, but I was just like, okay. And then, you know, I was like, okay, well, if they're not going to be on civics, let me at least sit in here. Because like, I took a long drive, you know, it was a long drive to get there. So let me at least soak up some history or just learn more about the Moors, you know? And it was just like a long sermon. It was like church. You know? I was just like, okay, this ain't cool. I was like, whatever. And, you know, they gave me a Quran in the questionnaire because I didn't have one. So at the end, I was stood around. I helped them clean up, you know, pick up chairs and whatnot. And I hit them up. I was like, well, you know, because it was a used one. I was like, can I buy this? You know? You know, how much do you want for it? And the dude who was teaching the class, he's like, He was cool with it. He's like, yeah, sure. You know, usually, I think he said they charge like 25 cents, 50 cents, something. I was like, well, I have $10. You know, I'm willing to, because that's the thing too. They're asking for donations at the end, and I was like, I'll shoot you $10 for both of them. You know, just that's my donation. You know, just to get back.
Yeah.
And the dude teaching the class, he seemed like he was cool with it. And then his little, I don't know, his little handyman, his little side man or whatever, he's the one who gave me that stink eye when I brought up civics. You know, he was just like, his vibe completely changed. The other dude teaching the class, he was still cool. You know, he wasn't tripping.
Yeah.
But the little guy seemed to get mad. And then I seen him go and kind of whisper to the dude. And he's like, no, he can't buy that. I was like, huh? And then he goes and they're kind of going back and forth. It's like, the dude teaching the class, he's like, he wanted that money. He didn't care. It's like, give it to him. I don't care. You want $10. But the little guy was like adamant about, you can't, you have to proclaim your nationality with us today, if you want to, if we can, if you want to buy it or whatever. And like, I was like, at that point, I was just like, all right, well, screw it. Okay, let's do it. I was like, all right, I'm down. Well, you have to tell us at the beginning, so we can, know and this and that, and let's already get in the class. What? We got to go. And what? Look at this. Like, there's a specific time you got to do it so you can be who you already are. Before the beginning of class, so they can. I don't know. I was just like, because I knew that it was already a bad vibe, and I knew I wasn't going to come back. But I wanted, I was there. Just give me the thing,
Yeah.
Go get it somewhere. I can go order it off the internet, but I'm right here. I'm right now. Just give it to me, So I was just like, okay, well, let's do it right now, then. I'm down to do it. Well, no, you have to tell us and this and that. Well, I was just like, whatever, man. After that, I was just like, and I still shot him 5 minutes. You know what?
Yeah, never.
I was like, you know what? I came up here, you guys taught, they didn't really teach me shit, but I was like, you guys taught me a little something, here's my $5. Here's $5 just for, contribution. So I know it's whatever here. And then, quick question. Yeah. When you said they were doing church, what can I get some examples? Of, what was that? Like, were they singing songs or something like that? No, they were just going over the Quran and stuff and interpreting it in their own interpretation. What they thought the Bible meant and this and that. Just preaching. Yeah, exactly. It was, like I said, it's like church. I wasn't really going talking about history. They weren't talking about the history of the Moors or nothing. It was like church. I'm already like. That's why I left the Catholic Church. I'm not trying to hear church right now. I'm trying to be on some real stuff. And like I said, but the one thing they did, they tried to sell me some cream, though. I don't know, some cream that they were selling. You want to buy this? I was like, nah. I was like, I gave you $5. I'm good.
So they won't sell you the Quran, but they'll sell you some cream. That's crazy.
And it's even stranger. I went to investigate more because I was like, is there, there's the Moorish Science Temple of America. Do they have one website, like an official website or something? And I looked it up and I saw one. I don't know if it's official or not. It looked official. I clicked on it and, it says locate a temple. So I was like, okay, let me locate it. And I didn't even see the one that I went to in LA. I didn't even see it on that website. Like the one in LA had their own website, which I initially found when I emailed them.
Right.
So I was just like, it was like a yoga studio. They rented out a room at a yoga studio. There's 3 people when I showed up. That's all it was. The dude teaching class, his little sidekick, and then one other dude. So it was just really weird. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I'll come back next week. And never came back. I was like, nah, I'm cool on that. I'll do my own thing. I'll figure it out on my own. I went on Amazon and got my Quran, so
Crazy.
But it was just a bad vibe. As soon as I brought up civics, that little dude, he just gave me a stink eye, like I insulted him or something, And if anything, I'm just asking questions. It wasn't like I was preaching to them what I thought or anything. I was just asking them questions, He seemed to be really offended. I was like, all right, man. Cool. And the other 2 dudes, they were cool the whole time, but there was just that little guy that liked. I could tell, but the other two dudes, they're cool, whatever. That's it. I help them clean up, pick up the chairs, and I bounce.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And it's weird because I have my homie, he lives out here. He's originally from Chicago. And one of his boys came out from Chicago, and he's a Moor. And he's from, the one in Chicago, the temple in Chicago.
Mm.
And the homie came down. I was like, where's, his name is Dennis. I was like, where's Dennis at? Oh, he's in LA, so he went to go visit the temple in LA and this and that. And I'm thinking, well, fuck, afterwards, I'm thinking, that's the one he went to. Like, he went to a yoga class. It's not no temple. It was a rented out room. And that made me think even more, like, okay, like, I can understand you guys are like, Rise of the Moors or something. You guys have to come out your own pockets to rent someplace to have,
Right.
But if these guys are supposed to be official, like, aren't they supposed to be, 501c backed? And shouldn't they have like a grand temple or something? Like, it just seems cheesy, But whatever, I guess. So I was just like, I'm calling the temple, man. I'm just gonna do my own thing and figure it out myself.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's the best way.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening too.
That's the best way.
And just trying
I don't know why. For some reason, I just saw him, talking about Birthright, and I was like, automatically, I assumed, well, shit, they have to be honest. They're talking about Birthright, But apparently not.
Yeah, that's an info ad. That's an advertisement. They use that to get the people to get in there.
They catfish me.
Yeah. And then when you get in there, they preaching.
Yeah.
They be preaching again.
And then when they were done,
because that's a lot of confusion. That just makes a lot of confusion.
Yeah. When they were done, he took off his little robe. Everybody took off their feathers and they bounced. I was like, I guess
wait.
When it was done, the dude who was teaching, he took off his little robe. He took off his turban, and the other dudes, they took off their feathers and bounced. And I guess that was it for the day.
So they took that stuff off inside in front of you.
Yeah.
And then when they went outside, they was black. When they went outside, they was black.
They got in their cars and they bounced.
They went outside and became black. Like, that's amazing.
Right? I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. I guess that's how they do it, man.
Yeah, that's the play. Looks so. So you already know we got a. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, just to say, I appreciate you guys even calling and building with me. Like I said, I was telling Cujo, like, I see like Moors on Facebook and this and that, and I shoot them like, Master J, what's up? Kind of introduce myself, just trying to build,
Yeah.
They got shut down. Nobody will talk to me, They're just like, okay. Even like a so-called Mexican Moor, I hit him up, and I think he was local, and I was like, hey man, you know where I can, cop a fez anywhere around here? No. Okay, right. Nothing like that. One word answer, no. Okay.
No Islam or nothing. No Islam or nothing.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Cool.
Oh yeah, just like
what was that?
Yusuf, that was just what we were talking about with the Horace Butler. Don't even know who's who on this damn internet, whatever.
Right. Don't even know.
Don't even know who's who. People talking crazy. You think that's somebody? That ain't nobody. That's some fake page.
That ain't nobody. That ain't even a real account. That's somebody here purposely to cause confusion. That's not here.
Page created.
Get more.
Yep, page created to cause confusion. Page created.
But again, I appreciate you guys, reaching out and even, talking to me and building with me. I'm alone out here, like shit, man. I'm trying to build with somebody,
Yeah.
The stuff to do is just by yourself, and you don't have nothing, nobody to like be there with you, motivate you, and just like shit.
So I appreciate you guys, because you go, telling you. Because I'm good. Yo, you just remind me of me so much. I'm like, yeah, there's nobody. There's nobody. You just gotta. That's why I do it in my house, right where I'm at. You know, this the temple right here until Moors get it together. You know, around where I'm at. Oh, so are you not close to Cujo? No. I'm near so-called Massachusetts territory. Oh, okay. Because I was hear you on the walking with them. I just kind of assume that you guys are same area.
Technology.
Nope. I'm down here. I mean, there's Moors here, you know, but you know, like it's just hard. Because you know, like what I noticed, you know, it truly is for the young and yet unborn. You know, like that's who's gonna put it together. I feel like they're the ones that's gonna do it. Like we're gonna give them the information, and they're gonna be the ones to be like, all right, this is how we're gonna put this together. You know, like they're gonna be the ones to do it because coming into the information at 28, you know, I still got 28 years to get this out of me. You know, like I've been brainwashed. You know, like I got to get this out of me. My son got a better chance. You know, because he's in it already. You know, he's already. That's all I know. That's all he knows. You know, I'm a Moor. He don't know. You know, black. What?
None of that.
They can't give him this. You know, they were doing that black man father figure stuff at the school, like where a group of so-called black guys came in there, you know, trying to, you know, like men of distinction. The Moors out there, but black guys, so-called black guys, was doing it. My son came home with the paper. He said, "I told him, don't come over here with that." I said, yeah, exactly. I told him, don't come over here with that. Yep. You already know. He's like, don't come over here with that. Don't come over here with that. And I'm pretty sure one of his teachers was sitting there like, yeah, just leave him alone. Because they worried about his dad at home. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want his dad to come in here.
You want his dad in here.
Please, leave him alone.
Do not want his dad in here.
Yeah, it's kind of intimidating too because, you know, we're like, you know, so-called Mexicans and I'm real light skinned, almost like, you know, European. And I don't know, it's just like, you feel like people are going to look at me funny. I guess that doesn't matter. I mean, I shouldn't care about that, but, you know, it's kind of like, you've been programmed for so many years, you kind of like, you know, close to the inside of your head and stuff. And it's like, I guess I try to tell the homies, you know, about this kind of stuff, and they just kind of look at me like you're tripping. You know?
Oh, yeah. You about to have that.
Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah. I don't try to preach to them, you know, because nobody wants to hear that shit, you know, but if they're open to some shit, you know, I'll drop something on them, you know, and then they'll be like, yeah, that's cool, you know, yeah, you're right. And then you know, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it. That's how it goes.
Right, exactly. Well, before we close out, you know, we gotta put something out there. Gotta put something out there for the mothers. The Sybil book. If you don't got it yet, make sure you put it in your order. Sybil, first prophetess of Mamiwata, page 97. The final fall and dispersion. In the years following, specifically between 150 CE and 475 CE, Rome's population had increased. Burdened by heavy bureaucracy, and their patricians became lazy, their bellies filled with the spoils of their colonial wealth. Its citizens were further weakened by numerous civil wars and devastating plagues. Rome was primed for the barbarian Germanic invasions from the north, which they eventually succumbed. The official cause of the young empire's collapse was just simply an overburdened bureaucracy, moral decay, and political corruption. However, beneath the substratum lies the story of the Sibyls, the African gods, and the destiny of a forgotten people. What became of the Sibyls? In an effort to blot out all traces of the ancient African matriarch and later the patriarch's undeniable presence and influence in the ancient world, one of the most egregious historical lies disseminated by the imperial church in Rome and continued unchallenged by present-day Western historians is their unproved claim that all the descendants of the ancient Black Egyptians, Phrygians, Pelasgians, Phoenicians, Canaanites, and Syrians, including their culture, religion, and their languages, are now completely extinct. Western historians erroneously assert that these major African clans left no remote traces of themselves, neither in Africa or anywhere else in the world. These holy papal fathers further designated the above ethnic classifications to the present-day occupants of Egypt, Greece, Turkey, and Syria, respectively, misleading the entire world to believe that they are the actual descendants of the original indigenous African and Afro-Elamite groups whose powerful empires once ruled the ancient world. One might well conjecture that the Africans, from all indications, during their persecution in Rome, may have already begun their sporadic migrations southwesterly back into Africa. Decades before the final fall of Rome, however, that what is certain is that as soon as they returned, they began empire building in West Africa, albeit employing the cultural, oppressive, patriarchal model so often mistaken by cultural anthropologists as Africa's original indigenous culture. Many Africans until today have an inkling that all African was once ruled by their beloved matriarchs. According to Saint Augustine, it was Rome to whom the Sibyls referred as the true whore of Babylon. In one final prophecy, considering today's political climate, one could speculate much from this and not render too far off target. However, what is most important here for the African diaspora as the benefactor of the divine seed of their gods and ancestors is that whatever belies the fate of the world, in spite of how Western biblical prophecy has been perverted and corrupted to disguise or exclude African people and others, it is important for them to reconnect back with their own divine self with the utmost expediency. By removing the antiquated shackles of mental slavery, the accompanying psychological fear and ignorance, only then will they begin the important work of restoring the dignity and the respect for their African spirits and ancestors that are cosmo and biogenetically linked to them. Accomplishing this could prove not only beneficial to the world at large, but also might be the greatest cultural, political, and spiritual triumph of all time. Sibyl of Cumea, and every land shall be filled up with thee, and every sea, and everyone shall be offended with thy customs. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Don't forget, 9:30 p.m. MHHS, eyes wide open. 319-527-6751. 319-527-6751. 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201. Call in, press 1. If you got questions, ask your questions. If not, forever hold your peace until show's done. If you want to tune in on the radio, it's blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-eyes wide open. Islam, or any closing words from the Moors?
Islam to all the Moors in the chat. or the true Moors. Give thanks to the Grand Sheikh and his platform. Honest to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
Islam. Any close out there, brother?
Islam to all the Moors. Again, I appreciate you guys building with me. If there's any active Moors in the LA area listening, get at Cujo to get at me, or let's build.
Islam. Islam. Peace and love to all the Moors. Don't forget, go to the online university, rvbaypublications.com, and get your study on. It's a great journey. Islam to all Moors. Oh yeah, and if you have any questions, if you're shy, you didn't want to say it in the chat because you don't want the muftis to get you or whatever, you could email your questions canaanlandguide@gmail.com. canaanlandguide@gmail.com, and as well, you can send a DM to the IG Canaanland Moors. Islam Moors, peace and love.
Man, I see the strongest and smartest men that could live. See all this potential. I see swamp. God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves, white collars.
Marcus Garvey got my right, True Ali got my left side. Hook pulling for devil's hides with the valley of death stride. Blade dirty like it doesn't shower, tongue is the sword. Moorish master MC Moore, myself I'm Lord. Accent of Tony Martin and Kwame Ture. They poison Steve Coakley, exposing the black boule. Threatening Ivan Van Sertima with deportation to his own land he's in. So you know some Masons are pulling strings to shut him up for saying Olmecs. Speaking the truth of those existing before Toltecs and Aztecs and Mayan. So-called blacks are the Hawaiian and the American and the free white man. Stop the blood clot crying. Irish nigga fighting a dancing monkey. Disgrace the race, slap a mumble rap chunky. Take your mask off, show you the future, give you nervous sweats. Listen to yourself singing about Molly and Percocets.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes. Working jobs we hate. We buy shit we don't need.
I see y'all wearing skinny jeans and sagging and sports bra shirts, calling Mochi to bury them in Calgary far outskirts, too grizzly to bear. I fear falling off this frisbee, I swear. Never mind sight impaired, stay on my square. 7 and 4 quadrant ring. I'm on my knees, not praying. I'm strangling gin with Rudraksha beads. Some might say mala, some might call it a Buddhist chain. In times of war, everything is a weapon just the same as everything above has it below. Check the facts in stone. If you can find one, ask a pharaoh. What Orion and Sirius have to do with the plateau of Giza? Ancestors thought project place to place like Freezer. More scientists, Sufi, shut up and down believers. Make those with little faith become ancestral receivers. Through signs and symbols, rhymes and signals. Either abandon or get your birthright like a retriever. Abandon or get your birthright like a retriever. No need to bring it back, you need no shepherd. Stop being a sheep, black, stop wasting effort. Stop letting traders chill, drop them off in deserts. I buzz at dinner, a sellout. Before I get the hell out, I listen to what Drew Ali taught, he didn't have to yell out. Ref, bring the bell out, Shango, the chicken heads out. Merge, shaman stones and tiger eyes help the spell out. Cool babe, the reason El Shabazz and Ali fell out. Moore's disgruntled and watching people with brows crumble to be exalted, but praise themselves never humble. Begging for props, wasn't segregation, but calling the cops, then calling them racist after someone gets shot or beat to a pulp or choked out. R.I.P. Your ancestors let your devil self haunt their dreams, torture forever and never have peace ever. So low, make their head hurt with biometric pressure.
Children of history, man. No purpose, place. We have no great war, no great depression. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our great depression